Welcome today, on the 23rd of January 2010, for the funeral of Jack Shelley. Earlier today, work began on making the funerary barge which was to transport Jack Shelley down the river back to his native seaside. And here we see the deft fingers of Jack Shelley's owner as he begins the origami construction of a sampan. Now Chris is following an original design in Origami, the art of paper folding, by Robert Harbin, which was in its sixth impression in 1970. And for those of you who have a copy to hand, if you turn to page 46, you can follow the intricate design itself and try to recreate one of these classic sampans, which are so beautifully suited to the task ahead. But before the actual folding begins, we see the waterproofing of the paper with margarine on both sides evenly spread. The procedure is simple, yet highly effective, and of course all materials are biodegradable, thinking of the environment. With a fully waterproofed sheet, the origami itself can now begin in earnest, starting with the classic move of folding the corners in to the center. Chris begins to fold back the corners from the center back to the outside, but notice that on one set the fold is to the outside, and on the other the fold is to the inside. And this is quite critical later in terms of the design and the appearance. The paper is flipped over, and using the straight inside fold, that side is folded back on both sides, as we can see here. And then the corners from the rectangle are folded in on all four corners. Difficult to see here, there's a further fold from the edge to roughly halfway along the side of the future boat. And then we come to the critical fold that holds it all together, because if you don't do this, it all just falls apart when you try to fold the thing together. There we go. And now the magic. Gently inserting the fingers to expand the paper, flipping the whole object round, and then inverting. And there we have it, creating the shape of the sampan that will bear Jack Shelley's body down towards the seaside. Friends on Facebook will remember that Jack actually died on the evening of the day before last, and has been lying in state in his fish tank. Now comes the time to gently remove the body from the tank. Carefully, Jack's lifeless shell is lifted from the water and blotted dry. Jack has been transferred to a fresh piece of tissue and is now reverentially being folded in to protect him for his journey. First a major fold, then the other tissue coming over, gently held in place. And now we see the barge brought in. And the tissue holding Jack is gently placed in the forefront of the funerary barge. It finally remains for the short beeswax candle to be inserted. And here we are live at the river as the preparations begin for the final journey for Jack Shelley. Lady Cygnus or Miltonia, the young mute swan, is in attendance, keeping an interested eye on what's going on. Chris is making sure all the spectators are there, and a quick thought before getting ready to prepare. And here he is. He's lighting the match. Nope. He's been distracted by something. Nope, there he goes. He's lighting the match. And yes, the beeswax candle is alight. What are you going to do with that match then, Chris? No, don't put it back. That's it. Make sure that it's damp before you put it back into the box. Now, reverentially going down on one knee, Chris picks up the little boat with the candle and with Jack Shelley in it, and places it on the river, gently giving it a last blow, and there it goes, off on its way, past Lady Cygnus, who stands guard as it drifts by on the river. Our camera team has moved on to join the spectators, and here's Daniel, who helped name Jack Shelley when he first arrived. And here we zoom into the boat. The candle is still burning brightly as the boat gently sails down. Oh, and Lady Cygnus is coming along just to give one last greeting before letting Jack Shelley wend his way down the river. The candle still burns brightly in the little boat as it flows along with the river, which has been swollen by the rain over the past few days. As we pan back, we can see the spectators following along the banks, encouraging the journey. And now the boat has gone almost to the other side of the bank of the river and is gradually disappearing from sight behind the bushes which line the path that goes along the river. And these are perhaps the last glimpses we have of the little barge carrying Jack Shelley down to the seaside. There's a last farewell from Chris. "Goodbye, Jack," he called. And then the boat is gone on its long journey down to the sea.